I've been driving for 4 days and have found myself in a situation that I have prepared for. While the Range Rover is running well, organising accommodation for tonight has been impossible. I didn't want to do this at night. So you can see a few trees over there. I have no choice but to set up camp somewhere in the bush. I have no tent, very little camping equipment, but sufficient to keep me dry and fed. Welcome to the last chapter in the purchase, collection, preparation and drive across Australia of my 45-year-old Range Rover. Reasonably level. I'll make myself something to eat. I don't have a chair, table or anything like that. I'm going to point the car. There you go, this will work. Is that straight? What began as a quest to find and purchase, no matter its state, my Range Rover that I sold 30 years ago, has led me to this. Sleeping the night, curled on the back seat, to be woken by the Australian bush calls and being reacquainted with the familiar smell of gear oil. This series of videos is that story. I'm Andrew St. Pierre White. Join me as I share my passion for building four-wheel drive trucks and travelling to the remotest parts of the world. These videos are made possible by contributions from Patreons. Join the Patreon family now. Where's the wind coming from? Quite chilly. It's actually down on the left. I need to find, all of this ground is sloping slightly. I need to point it in that direction like that. Well, it'll be an uncomfortable night, but it is what it is. It's this flipping COVID-19 thing. Everybody who would normally be overseas is now touring Australia. So all these little towns, it's not school holidays or anything like that. Everything's full. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to empty out the back seat. I'm going to leave that seat for sitting on. I'm going to tilt that seat forward. So then I get in and out of the vehicle on this side, like this. Clear this area out, and then I get a little bit of protection here from the wind. I'm going to have to cook. I can't cook there because of the fuel. It's too close to the fuel tank. So I'll have to use that seat on this side to cook. I'll make a little something supper on this seat here or something. I should be able to make myself pretty warm. I don't have, unfortunately, anything over my head, earmuffs and stuff. So I can get my upper body warm reasonably easily. But around my ears and face, I can't. But it shouldn't get too much colder than it is now. It will get colder. There's a chance that as it gets dark, the wind will die down, because we're not far from the coast. So that's maybe just blocked a bit by the wind. Clamp it. Yes. It works. Right. Before it gets dark, get the bed. I bought a cheap as they come sleeping bag for such an eventuality, and honestly up until half an hour ago I didn't think I was going to need it, but here it is. That can become my rubbish bin. So I've got a torch, with a magnet, Leatherman, and then here one of those little magic little things called the Nightcore LR10. That guy there, wonderful little thing, also magnetic, although half of the exterior of the car is aluminium, and I have a head torch, so I'm good. Nothing else needed in there. Right, that in my left pocket, that in my right pocket. I like the quiet. Actually, I'm secretly glad this happened. I know it's going to be uncomfortable, but actually it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. Just, there's just nothing. I love nothing. And the wind has died down and I'm a little hot actually. A tad hot. I'll probably cool down when I slow down a little bit. Right, food. Lemon pepper chicken. Chicken cauliflower bake. Pesto chicken. I think I'm going to do the first one. And I have a frying pan. And I'm going to warm it up in the frying pan. You know, these little stoves, $20. 20. And the burner's actually quite nice. It's actually quite a nice burner. 20 bucks. Really good. What I am short of, and it's been bothering me and I didn't do anything about it, which is really silly, is that I have no cloths, rags, or anything like that at all. And I was thinking to myself, oh, you've got to get this, got to get this, and I ignored my own warnings. I now need some, and I don't have some. I need to tell you a story about the time when I crashed my Range Rover. And the time there are two stories that I need to tell you actually. The crash of the Range Rover and then the reason why I married Gwyn has got entirely to do with Range Rovers. That's got you thinking, hasn't it?
There are actually 3 events that contributed, and I'll be sharing these with you over the next 2 episodes.
This is about ready to do. I'm just thinking about what I got to drink. I've got orange juice, Coke, water, drinking chocolate, iced coffee. Oh, shoot myself. What I would do now for a nice cold beer. Perfect. Perfect. What's the time?
But the first one I'll share with you now, because it was during
the last trip I took in my Range Rover, and we went to the Kruger National Park, which is a very, very large wildlife area in the northeastern part of South Africa. Very, very popular with tourists. And I had just fitted a factory reconditioned 4-speed gearbox that had a much longer set of 3rd and 4th gears, so that you could get much better speed for revs. And I'd wanted to fit it to my Range Rover for a long, long time, and we had a lovely time. I remember us counting animals and filming them and camping. I did a bit of trout fishing on not in the Kruger Park, but in the areas not far from Kruger Park.
Well, we're at the municipal camping lot, camping grounds on the Sabi River in Sabi. In fact, Derby River's right over there. We got here at about 3 today, I suppose. We went up to the Lone Creek Falls to have a look at them, and they're as beautiful as ever. Andrew then did some trout fishing, but as you can see, we're having chicken for dinners. The trout, I think they were at the pond next door.
We had a catastrophic breakdown, which was caused by me. I made a mistake in my maintenance when I replaced the oil in the front left hub, the one that's now leaking a little bit.
We heard some funny noises from the front axle earlier on, and the front right wheel bearings just seized.
Sorry, front right hub. I had not replaced enough oil. There wasn't enough oil in it, and the bearing actually seized on me. And it actually seized while I was driving. And I nearly caused a very, very bad accident. I managed to control the car because the wheel actually seized.
What you call holiday travel, white style.
And the vehicle veered over a line of traffic. We were lucky. Took a tow truck. I never forget Gwyn's sense of humour. It still didn't break her sense of humour. We got to finally got delivered at the destination with this crippled vehicle, where I stripped the hub.
Oh, look at this. It's broken. It's all broken. That's part of it. Those are little pellets. That's part of the bearing casing. Totally seized. As you can see, the colour changes on it has made it.
And called my office. I had a couple of employees, and they organised some spares. And a couple of days later, the spares were sent up, and I replaced the oil seals and the bearings.
In your opinion, Mr. White,
Yeah.
will this rally vehicle get us back to Johannesburg? Will we still win the race?
Oh, we'll get back to Joburg, right. We'll get back to Joburg, all right, love.
And we set off. And we had done probably a total of less than 600 kilometres. And suddenly the gearbox, this brand new gearbox that I'd gone all the way to the UK to order. I didn't need to, I just wanted a trip to the UK. And this lovely new gearbox, much quieter, really great, very happy with it, suddenly decided that it didn't want to go into any other gear except third. It was jammed in third gear. And we then limped home after the hub breakdown. We then limped home with this brand new broken gearbox. And Land Rover South Africa actually rebuilt the gearbox under the UK factory warranty. And that was the catalyst, I think, because that was in 89 that happened. I'd been with Gwyn for about 2 years. And it was finally the catalyst for me to say, you know, this old duck, it's time to move on. I need a more reliable vehicle. And I'd had a fair number of breakdowns. I had worked the car hard. I had, no question. I had worked it probably as hard as any other vehicle I've owned. I was going to say with the exception of the Land Rover, but certainly my Range Rover and my Land Rover, I worked them harder than any other vehicle, that maybe with the exception of my diesel 105 Land Cruiser. Those are the three vehicles of all the vehicles I've owned that I've worked the hardest. And I decided finally to let it go and sell it. Paul.
Andrew, how are you, man? I was just saying to myself, I wonder if he's home yet. Has he made it?
Okay, now I'm just letting you are on camera at the moment. I've got the phone on speaker. I am about 60 kilometres from a town called Cocklebiddy on the Ayr freeway, don't know the proper pronunciation, but basically just come out of the Nullarbor. I've pulled over at the side of the road because I cannot get accommodation anywhere because there are so many travellers on the road, so I'm going to sleep on the back seat tonight.
You know, it's amazing how many people independently are traveling. I mean, I see so many in Africa now who've come out to travel. Some can, some can't, and people are just getting in their vehicles and going.
Yeah, yeah.
I've had more calls for troopies this week than you'd want to know. I think it's incredible.
Wow.
So you're sleeping on the back seat. We didn't actually plan to give you to put in a sort of tent and stuff. I really didn't think you'd have a problem.
So I put this kit in because I was concerned that I might have a breakdown and have to be forced to sleep in the car because of one thing or another. And it's paid off, and the car's running beautifully. I've had
Really? No problems, no overheating, nothing.
No, cool as a cucumber. I've got a little bit of a leak from my front right hub oil seal. It's getting onto the brakes, but only a little bit. Apart from that, she's running absolutely smoothly. It couldn't be better. So I'm very pleased.
What's your mileage? How much mileage have you driven so far?
So at the moment, I've done approximately 2,600 so far.
Gee, that's amazing. Well done. Well, that's you know what, I just love the fact that it's really looking after you. This is such a lovely experience for you because you've owned one of these before. You know what it's like.
Yeah.
What's the feeling like driving it?
You know, the funny thing is that it's like a reality check. I remember so clearly when getting in my Range Rover, after you've driven it for about an hour, the motor suddenly quietens down and it speeds up and it's just smooth and fantastic. And it's happened exactly, you know, what happened with my old one has happened with this one. It feels the same. The seats are extremely comfortable. They're far more comfortable than my standard troopy seats. They're really good seats. It's a bit slow. I'm sitting between 90 and 100 k's an hour because the engine and gearbox is pretty loud, particularly the engine actually. The exhaust pipe is not doing its job like it should, so it's quite noisy. Consumption, I'm getting consumption of 15 litres, between 14 and 15 and a half litres per 100 k's, which is not terrible for a Rover V8.
You know what, you're still running the engine in. Don't forget that.
That is true. That is true.
I mean, you haven't even, I don't think that engine did 1,000 k's before you took it.
Oh, it
So
did less than 100.
this is brilliant.
It did less than 100.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, so
it did nothing.
You really are running the engine in. And when you get back to Perth, and you go through the engine and check everything, and it'll be a really good, drain the oil and check it, and just see. It's going to be really good.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I just thought I would let you know.
Nighttime.
Yes.
Have you got any beers to drink? Are you that stocked up?
Good question. I could have kicked myself. There's no beer in the fridge. I'm all alone here, and there's trees, and I'm completely alone with just trees for company. And I could have so done with a beer, but no.
Oh man. Well, listen, we all learn that lesson, and but I'm more pleased to know that you're okay and that it's safe and the car's running well. And credit to the guys who did the work on the vehicle. They've done a great job. So.
Yeah, they did a good job. They were committed, and we had fun. We had, you know, and they didn't skip, they didn't cut corners. They did it properly. Obviously, Peter knew what he was doing. There was no question. He climbed in there and just went for it. And the only part of the entire vehicle that probably would have let us down, we did a lot of work, all the suspension bushes and the brakes and things like that. The only part that would have let us down was the fuel system. It had been butchered a bit, so we just put a brand new pump in, ran a brand new pipe all the way to the carburetors, and there was one other linkage pipe that was iffy. We replaced that. But a lot of the cooling system was... I did a small repair to the expansion tank. It had a tiny little hairline crack in it, so it wouldn't quite maintain pressure. We fixed that, so the pressure was good. We didn't replace any of the water pipes. They were all good. Obviously replaced recently. There was nothing wrong with them. They actually looked quite new.
they rebuilt the engine. They probably did that. And that's the beauty about some of these old components, like the header tank. You can fix it. It's like the old brass radiators. You can fix them. You can still make a good repair.
Yeah, we just sold it a repair and it worked. Yeah. So.
Fantastic. And so when do you expect to be back in Perth?
I've got one full day drive tomorrow. Basically one full day and then a half a day, and I'll be home.
You'll be home.
Yeah.
Home for the weekend, and I guess plenty waiting for you when you get home.
Yeah. So I've done the whole trip alone because my brother-in-law had to pull out at the last minute, work pressures, and then because Erin is expecting, I said to Gwen, "There's no way she should leave home. She needs to be home with Erin." And so I just decided, it's fine. I'll just tackle it on my own, which is just as well because right now we would have had a problem because there's nowhere to stay, and this back seat is not exactly big.
No, it's not. It's not at all. But you know what? Sometimes things happen for a reason, and you're going to enjoy it. It's going to be a lovely, memorable evening. You're going to have a lot of fun on the rest of the trip.
Yeah.
And yes, and thank you. I'm really glad to hear from you. I was getting sort of concerned. I thought, well, I'm sure he'll call if there's a problem, but it's nice to hear from you that there isn't a problem, except maybe you don't have beer. Maybe that back seat will be comfortable enough. Trust me. When you're tired, you sleep.
Yeah. Okay, mate. Thank you very much, eh?
Look after yourself, be safe, and thanks for calling.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers, man. Bye.
So there you go. That was cool.
I'm not really very tired. I think I'll sit and watch some TV. I'm sure there's some top gear that would be suitable right now.
15,400. And climbing. We are definitely the highest motorists in the world. Because it's almost ruined your spine, and because yours isn't here, we have a startling conclusion, I think, to the show. It turns out that the most unreliable car in the world is the most reliable car in the world.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Range Rover.
Not what anybody expected, but
Nobody expected that.
Oh, come on, we can be proud.
Come on, we can be proud of that. That is to be proud to be.
So I was about to curl up on the back seat of the car, and I realised, hang on a minute, if I fall asleep now, I'm going to wake up at 2 a.m, wide-eyed, and then just be uncomfortable for the rest of the night. So I got out the GPS, and I worked out that I am exactly 1,001 kilometres from my home. So 1,000 kilometres for me in the Rangie would be a bit of a stretch, but I thought, well, I could just easily put on 100, 150 tonight extra, because the time is 8:30. I could put an hour and a half, and then get home tomorrow, because it feels a bit silly me driving and doing a full day and then overnighting at a hotel 3 hours or 4 hours from home. It makes no sense. So I'm going to do that, and I'll report back in the morning. So the rattling over that ground has created a strange rattle, and the lights for my Speedo, the panel lights, are no longer working. And I'm now on Australia's longest straight road, 149 kilometres dead straight. And I've done it, this is my third time I've done this road. I'm now doing it at night for the first time. And the other reason that has occurred to me, very good reason for getting in this last little bit, is that because this is a long weekend, tomorrow is Friday and the Monday is a holiday, there is every chance that I will not find accommodation at all. And 2 nights, 2 nights on the back seat, no thank you. Which means I might be forced to push on home. after a full day's drive without a rest. And I just had a good rest. I had a good almost 2.5 hours just making a meal and filming and things. So I'm probably good now. Feeling a little bit tired, but I'm good now for another hour, I reckon. And then I'll be good and tired, and I'll have a proper sleep, and then I'll be up at first light, and I'll hit the road and actually conclude this journey tomorrow.
It's up at 6. Not a terrible night. Not a great night. But I've got about 900 k's to do. No reason not to get back on the road. Contortionist to do all this. So I would like to thank, because there's probably not going to be a great deal of filming on the way home, and if the vehicle runs smoothly and the trip is easy, then there won't be no more story to tell. Next time you'll see me is when I show Gwyn the Range Rover and her reaction. I'd like to firstly thank the Off-Road History Museum in the United Arab Emirates for their support, for Britpart, for spares, for Rovercraft, for organising the spares. They're Britpart distributors, one of the distributors in Australia. Thank you, Paul Marsh. Thank you for your inspiration and encouragement. Pete and Stuart at Rangy Heaven. We had such a good couple of days. It was brilliant. And, well, testament to your work is the fact that she's still running. I had developed a tick last night in the Speedo. Quite a loud tick. Sounds like that little Speedo thing that I've mentioned a few times during the series might be on its way out. That'll be again for this car because it's already been replaced once, if not more times. But apart from that, so far the car's running well, and I have no reason to think that I won't be home in about 11 hours. However, there is still one story that I want to tell you, and in that story there's a scene where I climb into my Range Rover, I pump the throttle, and I start it, and everybody claps.
First difficult part is over.
The first difficult part is over.
As long as you've got a clean pair of knickers, you can do anything.
Thank you so much for watching. These videos are made possible by contributions from Patreons. Join our Patreon family now.